Tallahassee, hello Florida State, and welcome to the debut show of Fall 2017 here, Tuesday, September 5th. I'm meteorologist Jay Karstens.
I'm student meteorologist Matt Reagan. We are happy to be back, but we have a lot to talk about.
Of course, probably the most active start to a season we've ever had here at FSU Weather. We wanted to, of course, start off addressing the catastrophic events that unfolded as Hurricane Harvey, the first major landfall in about 12 years, devastated parts of southeastern Texas, including the Houston metro area.
Yeah, parts Cedar Bayou saw nearly 52 inches of rain. Absolutely catastrophic. Hard to fathom that much rainfall falling in one particular area.
That was actually the continental record for tropical cyclone rainfall. Hawaii actually had one area that got up to 52 inches of rain a long time ago, but again, for the lower 48, that was an all-time record. Relief efforts are ongoing. You can always donate to the Red Cross. Texans football player J.J. Watt, his foundation has raised over $15 million for Harvey relief efforts. So, of course, the effort to aid is always ongoing from us here.
Yeah, pretty incredible stuff. We'll be talking about the next threat, very much so to this show, but right now we'll take you through an overview with Sydney.
Thanks, guys. Now, my heart does go out to everyone affected by Hurricane Harvey. And also, within the next 7 days, preparations for our next threat are going to become really prevalent. But as for right now, our local 84 in Tallahassee with a dew point of 75. So if you have been outside, it does feel a little muggy, that dew point or the humidity at 75% with a light breeze. Now, as for our high temperatures, Tallahassee saw 87. We're still really feeling that the summer humidity and the summer temperatures not quite breaking through the 90s for Tallahassee, but places like Quincy and Bainbridge and Thomasville were seeing 90-degree temperatures. Looking at our radar, if you are in Wilma or the Tallahassee area, there are some showers making their way to our area. But as for tonight, we're seeing temperatures of 72, calm night ahead, and those weather headlines, chances of rain will be decreasing, a cool down is coming, and tomorrow we are going to be seeing some rain, and we will be tracking Irma throughout the rest of the show. Now back to Jake and Matt with a desk.
Thank you, Sydney. Of course, like you said, we're tracking Irma, South Florida, really prepping in advance of this Category 5 hurricane, and we've got some school closures to let you guys know about.
Yeah, we do have a few school closures. One coming in, actually, I don't have the information just yet, but it looks like right now for Miami-Dade and Broward County, schools will close Thursday and Friday. Monroe County, that includes the Keys, yes. Those will start to be closed tomorrow until further notice. Yeah,
and of course we have evacuation orders that have been issued in the Florida Keys, so Monroe County, areas like Key West, Key Largo, likely to be issued for parts of Miami-Dade County as well tomorrow. Pretty big metro area, of course, down there in South Florida as they approach this potentially catastrophic storm that could have some serious impacts down in the state of Florida.
Yep, and we'll get you the rest of the information later on in the show. For now, we'll send it back on out to the wall.
Thanks, guys. Right now, we're taking a look at our satellite and radar around the area. We can see a few clouds have been moving into the Tallahassee region with a few spotty showers, especially over there in Wilma. That's helped to cool down some of their temperatures this afternoon. But right now, we are looking at mostly cloudy skies. That rain is gone for the moment. We have mostly cloudy skies with 84 degrees. Dew point is up to 75. That's very uncomfortable outside with our humidity extremely high. That's going to stay that way through the next few hours while that cloud cover and those storms are in the area. 84 again in Tallahassee. Again, Wilma, our cool spot at 77 with those showers. And Bainbridge right now is our hot spot at 90 degrees. Our sailing forecast for Wednesday, about 5 to 10 knots on the water there, so it's a nice light breeze. Our waves are only going to be about 1 foot, so this is the last great week for boating right before Irma starts to shake things up along the waters. Whether it enters the Gulf or not, we are going to see some rise in the waves and chop on the water. And our sunset is getting a little bit earlier right now at 7:54 p.m. As we move here into the fall. But if you're staying closer to shore on the sand, we have winds a little bit higher at 5 to 10 miles per hour. Surf only at 1 foot, so also a nice day for the beach. Water very warm at 87 degrees, and our UV index is at a level 10. So definitely wear a hat, bring sunglasses if you're going to be outside, especially there on the beach where the water and sand is going to reflect more of those UV rays. Again, that level 10 right there at the very high risk, so make sure you take those precautions if you're going to be outside. Tonight's forecast, 72 degrees, a calm night, a 40% chance of rain. And then tomorrow's forecast, 88 and rainy, so make sure that you bring your umbrella. Now we're going to take it back to the desk.
Thank you, Brantley. We're actually here in the lab. We're going to break down a little bit of information on something that's interesting going to the storm, where we're getting our data for the storm. We're seeing this extremely powerful, of course, Hurricane Irma. This is where we start to dive into what exactly is going on and what we can expect here in the state of Florida. But first, where do we get this data from? Now, these brave men and women called the Hurricane Hunters, they are in here right now, and quite a few aircraft are actually in there. We have around-the-clock recon getting information such as pressure, wind speed, kind of the makeup of the storm and how far out those winds actually go. So this is what we've got right now, heading towards the Lesser Antilles as a very powerful Category 5 hurricane. Jake's going to break down the forecast track here in a few minutes. But this is what we saw last night on our flight tracker, where we can see these are all different flight paths of the different aircraft. We have this C-130 with the Air Force. We have NOAA that goes in there with a P-3. We also have a Gulfstream, which is like a private jet that flies around the storm to sample the environment, see what type of steering pattern and steering flow is going on. That's this outlier path right here. That's actually sampling some of the steering currents that Jake will again break down here very soon. So these guys will go inside the storm. The ones that go in will fly a aircraft alpha pattern, and that is exactly what this looks like. It's kind of these triangular areas and breaks the storm up into quadrants. And these quadrants, we always talk about the right front quadrant being the most dangerous place where the highest winds are, and that's exactly what we typically see when this aircraft flies in and out. That's exactly what is happening right now. Let's take you over to our live feed of the aircraft that are currently flying around the storm. Actually, this one just took off from one of the island nations. We can actually zoom up to, here's the Gulfstream, the Learjet that's flying around the system, sampling the air. So it gets the wind speed, it gets the vertical profile of the atmosphere. And this one's actually starting to come south right now. And this data will be very important to the computer models that we run every 12 hours or so. So this will be going and feeding into the models and very helpful information. And as we get closer and closer to the time when this storm could be approaching the United States, this will be invaluable. Let's check out one of the other aircraft that we can see flying within the storm if our system wants to work here. Here we go. Actually just went through the storm, and I believe one of our folks in-house here was saying that it might have had a surface pressure of about 914 millibars. We'll confirm that for you here very shortly. But extremely low pressures in Irma will indicate the strengthening, and that's exactly what we're seeing, very high winds. All of this information getting fed back to the National Hurricane Center and, of course, into the computer model data. Now we're going to go back out to the wall or desk.
Thanks so much, Matt. Let's get back to talking more and more about Irma. Right now we have Miami-Dade County has actually issued some evacuations. Is that correct?
That's right. The government of Florida is taking preparedness actions right now. The State Emergency Management has activated to a level 1 in their emergency operations center, and that is really just to help get prepared. It's not we have a state of emergency, but really it's a state of preparedness. The Florida Keys are having mandatory evacuations tonight for visitors. Tomorrow, residents are going to see those evacuations put in place, and then Miami-Dade County is also starting evacuations tomorrow for flood zones A and B, and you can find those zones on miamigov.com.
And the Florida tolls, they've been suspended as of 5 p.m. tonight by Governor Scott, and that is to help ease with all the evacuations as the storm gets closer. We are going to keep our eye on it, but you always do want to stay prepared. Be sure to buy that bottled water, get those candles, run to the store as early as you can. That way you have the best time to do that. But for now, let's take it out to the lab again, where Jake is going to be standing by.
Thank you very much, Jordan and Brantley. Here we're looking at a satellite view of Hurricane Irma, the visible satellite. Unfortunately, the sunlight's kind of starting to go away here, but you see these bursts of convection on the northeastern quadrant of the storm, as well as some of these waves emanating out from the center, really showing no signs of slowing down here as it approaches the northern portions of the Lesser Antilles, as well as Puerto Rico here. But what we wanted to focus on is the intricacies of track forecasting here. Here is our model track guidance. This is from a couple of hours ago, courtesy of our friend Levi right upstairs in the 3rd floor here. And you see the initialization point just to the northeast here of the Lesser Antilles, and this still is very widespread across the models here. Basically what we're doing is tweaking the initial conditions of these models just a little bit and seeing how that changes the environment around it. So still we have a realistic possibility with this storm of being east of the Jacksonville metro over the open waters, potentially coming over Cuba and into the Gulf of Mexico here. And the reason for this uncertainty here is forecasting some of these more synoptic scale features in the northern part of the country. So let's look at this right here. You see this big trough that's currently dipping down into the midwestern part of the United States right now. This is forecast to continue to move on to the east over the next couple of days. And what we wanted to look at with this is if this would help to lift Irma north and eastward away from land. Unfortunately, the consensus now is that this trough is going to eventually lift its way off to the northeast here as the hurricane makes its way a little bit closer to the Gulf of Mexico. So what we're looking at here for the real turning point is this shortwave trough, this very tiny one that you can't really pick up too well here unless you zoom in really far on these little black lines that indicate pressure right here. So what's going to happen here is this shortwave will interact with the hurricane right here, and the timing of this, depending on both how fast it moves to the west, Irma itself, and how fast this shortwave moves to the southeast, that's going to be the deciding factor in when Irma takes its northward turn here. So the possibility, one of the possibilities here is that this does track over Cuba, which would be good in the sense that it would serve to weaken the storm just a little bit. This is a topographic map of Cuba right here, and you see in the southeastern portion of the island plenty of higher elevations, some mountainous regions over there with levels above sea level as high as about 1,000 meters, maybe a little bit more in spots. So typically these areas of high terrain tend to kind of shred the storm a little bit, and in this case, obviously, it would produce rather catastrophic results in some of Cuba, but it would ultimately serve to weaken the storm as it continues its westward march here. So we look here, lastly, at the tropical storm force wind probabilities, and again, we're really looking at South Florida right now, a 50 to 60% chance of seeing tropical storm force winds over the next 5 days or so as Irma eventually moves its way northwest into the weekend. But for now, we're going to go back to a local look at things with Sydney out at the wall.
Thank you so much for that valuable information about Irma, Jake. We do highly appreciate it, but bringing it back on in to our local weather in Tallahassee, our high today was 87, didn't quite break through the 90s with a low of 73. So we're right about on average with both, a few degrees off, but we can be very thankful that it's not 1925 with that record-breaking 101 temperature. Now, around the region at this moment, we are seeing low 80s. Bainbridge is our hot spot at 90. Also, Thomasville at 86 is a little bit warmer than the rest of Tallahassee, Monticello, and Quincy in the low 80s for those regions. Now, if you are in the area, there are some storms popping up around Wilma and making their way north and then dissipating. They're not making it too far. As for the eastern side of our region, we are seeing some cloud cover and some rain headed east out of the region. So that satellite is looking pretty good for our area. As for our future satellite, we are seeing Tallahassee sitting at about 1/10 of an inch. The entire region actually sitting at about 1/10 of an inch. Carabel, 1/4 of an inch down there. And as we move into Wednesday, it starts to go up in places like Valdosta and Perry. And then that green just sort of takes over as those rain chances, or as that rain increases around the region. Now, air quality, as you can see, is good around the entire Big Bend area. Now, we do see a little bit, as we make our way west, a little bit of that middle region between good and unhealthy. But as for the Big Bend region, green is good. So we're seeing that good quality air. Pollen forecast, it will be the highest on Friday, and that is going to be 11.4. Looking into the evening, we're going to see possible showers. 6 p.m., 83 degrees. Things will be clearing up at 10 p.m. Calm late evening. So not very many clouds, and that sky will be looking clear. The wind will be clearing up as well with that 75-degree temperature. Looking at tomorrow, rainy and hot tomorrow. So we are going to be seeing an 80% chance of rain tomorrow, 88 degrees as well. Pack that umbrella because that rain could pop up basically at any time, and we're going to be seeing those winds south at 5 to 10 miles per hour. So some light winds will be seen, and throughout the week, trends are high 80s until Sunday. We will be seeing those lower 80s with 83, and our lows will be trending between the low 70s and the high 80s. Now we are going to take it back over to Jordan and Brantley at the desk.
Thank you, Sydney. Now, as everyone has been watching the hurricanes and other tropical activity here in the southeast, another state of emergency has been declared in Southern California. Over 1,000 firefighters are currently fighting a wildfire that has burned 7,000 acres in La Tuna State Park, and it has now spread to the city of Los Angeles.
Wow, that's absolutely incredible. Apparently 7,000 acres of land have been burned. It's the largest wildfire within the Los Angeles city limits, as a matter of fact. Firefighters regained control of the fire last night. It's about 30% contained, but rekindling of that section is still a threat, especially with all the dry air and the high wind speeds that they have there. And also the smoke is in the air from California all the way to the eastern seaboard. I don't know if you saw that earlier graphic with the air quality. It was starting to get a little bit yellowish as you head further west.
That's right. That fire and many other large wildfires in the area have decreased the air quality significantly, and that is spreading all the way over to the eastern seaboard. So we will keep an eye on that for you here in the local area. Now we're going to take it back out to the wall with Matt.
As we wanted to leave you with this, well, we still have about 10 minutes of the show left, but we wanted to kind of give you this general overview of what's going to be happening with Irma. And this is what we know. Right now, this is the Hurricane Center's forecasted track, and the cone does bring it through the Lesser Antilles, near Puerto Rico, as well as north of the island of Hispaniola, and right into the Turks and Caicos, and very near the Bahama Islands as we move into Friday. Now, beyond that, as Jake had mentioned, and we have been mentioning quite a bit on this show, there is quite a bit of uncertainty. We are fine-tuning the forecast, especially for the next about 24 to 48 hours, to see exactly where it will go. But this cone from the Hurricane Center gives us a good idea of where the majority of the models bring it. So the center can be near the top of the cone, near the bottom of the cone. Anywhere in this area could see the potential for Major Hurricane Irma to strike. Now, a review of where we've been already this year. We've seen quite a few storms down in the I names now. Irma and Jose is also out there, and Katia might be with us here very soon, but those we'll talk about another day. Right now, Irma is our focus. And, of course, Harvey, the one we're just getting over in Houston, Texas. Now, here's the satellite view of Irma right now, a large Category 5 hurricane starting to bear down on the Lesser Antilles Islands as it moves off to the west, still going west, northwest. It's trying to make that turn to the north. It's starting to do so. That's what we're seeing in the latest recon data. Now, farther behind it, this is Jose. Jose also forecasted to become a hurricane over the next few days. We're not going to worry about this right now. Our first worry is Irma, and we'll be focusing on that one very carefully throughout the next few days and letting you know all the information you need to be safe and prepared. Now, one more look at Hurricane Irma, because it is a dangerous and powerful storm, but on satellite it is incredible to look at. Kind of a donut shape there, moving off to the Lesser Antilles. We'll have more on Irma as the days go on. Right now, we're going to be sending it over to Brantley with a look at the southeast.
That's right, Matt. Right now in the southeast, we are seeing some parts of Irma and other storms in the tropics that are starting to move into the area. We have some tropical storm watches and warnings over there near Mexico, as we have a new tropical depression, number 13, that has formed. That's likely going to become Katia over the next couple of days. We also have tropical storm and hurricane watches and warnings off to our east in the Lesser Antilles and Eastern Caribbean. We still have some flood warnings over in Texas and Louisiana from Hurricane Harvey that left all that devastating rain in the area, and we're going to keep you guys updated on the progress of those floods. Right now in Tallahassee, 84. We are seeing some thunderstorms in Miami and Tupelo, Orlando at 84 degrees, Tupelo at 74. Key West still sunny for now at 78 degrees. And then our 24-hour temperature change, we do see that cold front starting to come in. Little Rock down 17 degrees from what they saw this time yesterday. Tupelo at 14 degrees down, so we are going to see that cold front start to move in to our area. We can also see that here on our wind map. We see some winds and Tupelo coming out of the northwest. That's indicative of a cold front that has just passed, but all the areas that are ahead of the cold front are generally coming out of the south or southeast. Our satellite and radar, we do see some cloud cover down here from Tropical Depression number 13. That's starting to move into the Gulf Coast region, including the Big Bend. We saw a few pop-up showers this evening, and those are starting to slowly clear away, but the rain chances come back again tomorrow. And even though we had that cloud cover, the UV index is still very high. Earlier I mentioned it is a level 10 for Tallahassee, so make sure that you are taking precautions for that. Our heat index up to 92 degrees. Even with that cloud cover and those few rain showers, still feeling very hot outside, just like it is all across the Sunshine State. Tonight, cooling down to about 72 in Tallahassee, 77 in Orlando. We're going to hang in the 80s for Miami and Key West, and dipping down into the upper 50s farther north there where that cold front has passed. Tomorrow's forecast, 87 degrees in Tallahassee, 93 in Orlando, 91 in Miami. So we're going to be seeing temperatures for the Sunshine State generally in the upper 80s to lower 90s. And we are going to see some thunderstorms stretching all the way down from Key West up to Wilmington, North Carolina. And that does include our area. So make sure that you have your umbrella ready. Meanwhile, where the cold front has passed, we are going to see fair skies or sunny skies with temperatures a little bit cooler than what we saw today, generally in the upper 70s or low 80s. Now we're going to take it back over to the desk with Jake and Sydney.
All right, thanks a lot, Brantley. Let's pep things up here a little bit, because not only have we been talking about tropics and all that with the way the summer's gone here, but we also had a very rare event happen back on August 21st, a total solar eclipse.
Yes, this was the first total solar eclipse that the United States has seen in 38 years. And what a solar eclipse really is when the moon passes in front of the sun, slightly blocking your vision from the sun, and you can see that ring if you're in the line of totality.
The line of totality for this extended from Oregon all the way through South Carolina, encompassing a good part of the central United States. So a lot of us went up to the Atlanta area, up towards southern Tennessee, even parts of South Carolina, to go and view the eclipse. I was here in Tallahassee. We were at about, 86% of totality. Made things a little more comfortable outside. I mean, it wasn't really dark out there necessarily, but it felt a few degrees cooler, and I just kind of wish it was like that every day.
Yeah, exactly. I was in Albany, New York, so I saw even a little bit less than Tallahassee did at 67%, but the entire United States did see at least a partial eclipse, which is just phenomenal. It's awesome.
Absolutely.
So it was an awesome experience, and now we are going to, well, actually, the first contact was in Oregon that the solar eclipse did see, and me being in Albany, by the time it got to me, we did see more of the sun than other places, but it was still an awesome view and a great thing to happen during my lifetime.
For sure. Not many people get to experience that. The traffic situation wasn't necessarily the best in some places, especially in parts of Tennessee.
Traveling from Tallahassee to anywhere in Georgia I heard, did have pretty bad traffic, but what can you do, because everyone was trying to see this phenomenal view.
Exactly. Some people plan this out years in advance, and it's just a marvel that we've been able to really nail down the exact times when these kinds of things are going to happen.
Yeah, and as for the next one, there is going to be another one in 2021, and they will be planning things along the line of totality. I have actually found out that my hometown, Albany, New York, will be on that line, so I will be getting there to make sure that I see a total eclipse in 2021.
All right, awesome. Now let's take it over out to Jordan. One last look at our local forecast before we wrap things up.
Thanks so much, Jake and Sydney. Right now we're sitting pretty hot still for this time of the evening. 84 degrees right now in Tallahassee. Mostly cloudy skies. Actually, on the way here, I did see a sprinkle or two, so that humidity is also a little bit higher than about 75%. Maybe it's gone away ever since then. Calm winds too at about southwest, about 8 miles per hour, but those mostly cloudy skies are going to stay for the majority of the evening. Taking a look at our satellite and radar, you can see a couple of spotty showers just to the west of Wilma and moving its way farther east and a little bit northward toward Tallahassee. So if you do have any night plans tonight, be sure to bring that umbrella or poncho with you, just in case of that extra little shower here or there. It will be diminishing as we go farther into the week though. Futurecast winds and temperatures, a lot of that southerly flow coming out from the Gulf. That's the main driving of these thunderstorms. They're fueling it up with lots of moisture, giving that really high heat index and that really high humidity factor, so it does feel really icky out there. heading into Wednesday morning, we are starting to see the winds take a little bit of a shift, then starting to head straight back from the south again. So expect a certainly afternoon thunderstorm or so heading into your Wednesday afternoon. But as Thursday morning rolls around, we have a cold front coming through, and it's going to push all of our wind from the north. So we are going to expect much drier air and much drier temperatures as a result of that. So it will be very nice outside, and it might be still in the mid-80s, but it will certainly feel much lower than that. For tonight, 72 degrees, a 40% chance of rain, going to calm later in as we head into the later evening. Tomorrow, 88 degrees, rainy and hot, so be sure to pack your umbrella, about 60% chance of rain. But here's your 7-day forecast. Those temperatures are going to continue to increase throughout the rest of the week, and by your weekend, it looks to cool off a good bit, but those rain chances will be increasing as we head into the later week. Let's wrap things up with our final FSU Weather Show back at the desk where Jake and Sydney are standing by.
Well, it's the final desk. Thankfully, not the final FSU Weather Show. We're just getting started here in the fall, and really looking forward to seeing Thursday, Friday, Saturday, some sunshine out there. If in the event that we play this game against Louisiana Monroe here Saturday night, looking like a pretty good day for that and all the pregame festivities.
Yeah, definitely. And while we're here, we do want to make a shout out to a few people who graduated in May of 2017, and those people are the last team leader for Tuesday, which is Matt Mackey, who is in Middle Georgia, Macon, Georgia, which he is doing phenomenal there, and we see him all the time doing his updates on social media.
Absolutely. We got our graduates all across the country. Zach McIntyre out in California, Lexi Birmingham in Texas, Melanie Steinberg in Michigan, and Valerie Mills right here at WTXL here in Tallahassee. How cool is that?
Yeah, that is awesome. So we are going to bring things back in on a more serious note about those Irma preparations. Now, if you are going to be evacuating, Governor Rick Scott has waived all the fees if you are traveling down any throughway or any highway of Florida. So no tolls through the highways of Florida.
The key message with this is that, again, there's still some uncertainty in the track of this storm here. We're talking about this earlier in terms of where exactly Irma is going to make that turn. You see it on the 7-day there, Monday and Tuesday, with the increased rain chances accounting for a potential impact of rain-wise from Irma, not necessarily a direct hit or anything along those lines. But again, the big thing, we're going to be tracking this all week, social media, here live.
Yes, we will be all over social media tracking Irma on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter because Twitter is where we are most active, and Instagram, and also we are on YouTube for our live stream now. So make sure to tune in for our live stream on YouTube.
All the old broadcasts are still archived on livestream.com/FSU Weather if you want to check any of it out. So again, we'll be there with you all week covering Irma and everything else here around Tallahassee. For now, I'm meteorologist Jay Karstens.
I'm student meteorologist Sydney Welch.
Have a good night.
Have a good night.